Welcome to another game review where I, as a video game noob, give my very unprofessional opinion about games that I do full playthroughs of. This is the second video in this series. The first one I did a couple weeks ago. If you want, you can check that out right up there. But yeah, I'm basically gonna just start doing recaps of games that I do full playthroughs of, and I just want you to know ahead of time, I'm not an expert, okay? This is just me as someone who is experiencing these games for the first time, giving my honest opinion and thoughts about the games. So today's topic is Mass Effect 1. If you have been a part of my live streams, you know that I have been playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition for the past several months, and recently I finished up Mass Effect 1. We just started Mass Effect 2 a couple of weeks ago. That's off to a really cool start, but I wanted to split them up since they are technically separate games. So let's get into it. Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 is kind of unlike any game that I've ever played before. The closest game that I can compare it to that I've played is Dead Space 3. I did a Dead Space 3 run with one of my homies back in the day, and that's kind of the closest thing I can compare it to. Now, just to give some background, again, I have missed out on a lot of video games through the years. There was a 10+ year period of my life where I just didn't play games, and so you're probably thinking like, how is that the closest game that you can compare it to? Well, it's because I haven't played a ton in my life. So the sci-fi, like, space aspect of it, what am I trying to say? The space aspect of it is kind of what, just like the similar vibes that I got with Dead Space 3, but ultimately they're kind of completely opposite games, right? So first, I'll talk about the gameplay a little bit. I want to have a more structured, like, how I do this and focus on certain parts of the game as I get better at these reviews, but I'm kind of winging it right now, so stick with me. These will get better, I promise. But as far as the gameplay of Mass Effect 1 goes, the game came out in 2007. Yes, this was the Legendary Edition, so I'm sure that they kind of switched up a few things, but you could definitely feel like the outdated parts of the game. The AI was probably one of the worst I've seen as far as like your squad mates go. They would literally just, you would line up a shot on an enemy and they would literally just stand right in front of you. Ashley, I'm about to shoot you in the back of the freaking head if you... Oh my... That stuff, like, you could definitely see the age come through. The combat was kind of weird here and there. Can you... And there were like little things that you saw the age, right? But that's okay. It's an older game. At this point, it's almost like 20 years old from when it first came out. The missions and things like that were super fun. I enjoyed most of what I did. There were some things where I, didn't necessarily enjoy it that much, but man, to be honest, it got more and more fun as the game went on. As you got closer to the end, which by now, I don't think I can spoil anything, but if you don't want to know how the game ends or anything like that, then stop watching the video now. But yeah, as you got to the end, the game like very much picked up. The story got very interesting, and yeah, like the final battles and things like that was super fun. The ending was amazing, like Shepard rising out of the heap of just destruction, and he's like, I'm a freaking legend. That was super cool. Also, I decided at the very end to vote for Anderson. Screw the politics guy, I voted for Anderson. And then you just turn around and walk off like a complete Chad. That was super cool. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the whole game right there. Some of the highlights for me, and maybe some of the lowlights as well. I think for me, some of the highlights are probably, they wouldn't matter to a lot of people that are used to playing games like this. But for me, it was just really cool to see my development through the game. When I first started, I was like, okay, I'm gonna struggle with this. This is gonna take forever. I'm not used to shooters. I'm not used to like all of that sort of stuff. So I was kind of like, I might be screwed here for a while. But it was really cool from the beginning and through the rest of the game to kind of see how I progressed. I enjoyed the weapon upgrades that came along with things as well, doing the side quests, picking up new weapons, new things to add to your ammo, grenades, all that sort of stuff was really really cool. And some of the game made you think. I mean, the decisions obviously with the Legendary Edition will last from the first game to the last. So if you mess up decisions in the first one, you're gonna feel the effects all the way through the playthrough. And so you had to really kind of think about some of the decisions that you were making, which was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. Probably for the lowest of low through the entire playthrough, which people are still mad at me for. Unfortunately, getting Rex killed. Now listen, if this is your first video of mine from my Mass Effect playthrough, I just want to say it was not on purpose. Rex was one of my favorite characters in the game. I'm the kind of person where I just live with whatever happens. I don't like to save scum, and so when that happened, I was like, okay, it's my first playthrough. I didn't know that that was going to happen. We live and we learn. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't know it was gonna happen. And just because I continued to play through the game that way doesn't make it wrong, okay? I have had so many people say, how could you do this? You did this wrong. You did this wrong. How else am I supposed to learn? You can't save scum through life sometimes. So again, to all you Rex fans out there, it wasn't personal. It wasn't I didn't want it to happen, okay? It's something that I've regretted from the moment that it happened, but I can't change it. You couldn't change it if that were real life, right? You can't go back and rewind history. Also, another pretty interesting note from my playthrough is that I decided to go through the whole playthrough without using any special abilities, powers, anything like that. It kind of happened accidentally. From the beginning, I was so nervous about playing a game like that and just not being used to it that even though it was teaching you in the beginning how to use those special abilities, I just completely blacked out, forgot how to use them, and didn't take the time to go back and learn it. And so I just started getting really good at my own combat, getting better aim, getting better shots lined up, stuff like that. And so it kind of accidentally just became something that went through the entire playthrough, and towards the end people started to notice it, like, bro, why aren't you using this, why aren't you using that? And I'm like, well, I haven't so far. I've made it to this point. Let's see how far I can take it. And at the end of the game, it got pretty difficult. Like those final couple of battles, special abilities, who needs them? It got pretty hard not to use special abilities, but I made it. I basically went through the entire playthrough with 0 abilities whatsoever, and I thought that was pretty cool. And so now that I've started Mass Effect 2, I've continued that. Now, I've been told multiple times by multiple people, most likely I'm not going to be able to go through the entire Mass Effect 2 game without using abilities at some point. But so far, I haven't yet, and it's kind of like a personal challenge of mine. So you might think it's stupid, whatever, that's fine. Let me play the game how I want to play the game. You play it how you want to play it. My Twitch viewers seem to enjoy it as well because they're laughing if I die in a funny way because I didn't have a shield up or something like that. So it's just become kind of a fun thing that we do, and I really, really enjoy that aspect of it. As far as the characters go, obviously the main character, Commander Shepard, absolute Giga Chad. He's a boss. Really enjoy getting to play the game through him and just like experiencing something like this with a likable character. You know, I kind of did a mix of like good guy Shepard, renegade. I made a couple of decisions early in the game that I knew would kind of affect the entire playthrough of the Legendary Edition. And so from there, I didn't really care exactly if he was a good guy or a bad guy. And so there were certain days where, depending on my mood, I would do, you know, everything in a good way and he would be a great guy. And then some days I would do things and just call out people and tell them that they're stupid and go full renegade mode. So it was really fun kind of balancing those out, and that was super cool. As far as the other characters go, Anderson, probably my favorite character in Mass Effect 1. Absolutely so cool to just see like his relationship with Shepard and how he like stood tall even though stuff got taken away from him. Big shout out to Anderson. Also, Joker is an absolute W. Joker is so much fun fun to have around. He's a legend when it comes to the Normandy, but he's also the guy that brings some jokes in and like keeps it lighthearted even in serious moments. He knows how to balance those things out. You had Ashley, you had Caden that you had to kind of pick from when it comes to a big decision in the game. And yeah, that was cool too. I mean, it sucks to think that you can't keep the whole squad together, but that's what makes video games fun, right? Is you have those big decisions to make, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Garrus was a huge W. Absolutely loved Garrus. Once I met him, he pretty much came with us to every mission after that. Garrus was like my right-hand guy, and honestly, I didn't really use a ton of the other squad mates. I had Garrus, I had Ashley for pretty much the entire thing. I felt very comfortable with Garrus and with Ashley throughout the entire thing. There were a couple of missions where I brought somebody else along just to see how it went, but I really felt like Garrus and Ashley were the best options there towards the second half of the game mostly. And so finally that brings us to replayability. Now, I don't know exactly how to answer this question yet because yes, I still have to finish Mass Effect 2, then I have Mass Effect 3, and especially being the Legendary Edition where the decisions matter through the entire 3 games, I don't know about replayability yet. Yes, there are parts of the game where I'm going to miss it and be very much like, man, I want to do that again, but I don't know if it's a game that I would go back to all the time. I think that decision is still yet to be made from 2 and 3. So far in 2, I'm having a blast. 2 is so much more polished, so much more refined, well done, detailed out. I'm really enjoying 2, and so my decision is leaning much more to, yes, I would replay this again in the future from 2 than it did from 1. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I think that decision is kind of TBD right now. It's kind of to be determined on how 2 and 3 go, but like I said, W series, I've had so many people come into my streams, whether it's on Twitch or TikTok, and be like, yo, it's so cool seeing people still play this game for the first time and they come hang out. It's always a good time. So if you would like to be a part of the streams, my link will be down below to my Twitch channel. Love to have you come hang out there. I stream 4 to 6 times a week over there. And if you want to catch up on the entire playthrough so far, 1 and the videos from 2, there'll be a playlist link down below as well. You can check that out from start to finish. I wanted to have all of this documented that we could go back and look at in the future and get some good memories, good laughs, and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to check it out, that's there. And yes, once again, I just want to say, if you made it this far in the video, I know that this is not your traditional game review. I am not an expert, but moving forward, I do want to clean this up. I want to make this nice. I want to really like change how I do game reviews in the future to make them different than my other content. I want to make some graphics and like have that sort of stuff. I want to get more detailed with them, that kind of thing. So if you have suggestions, I am completely open and willing to hear what you guys want to see from the game reviews. And I hope that I haven't disappointed you in this one, because like I said, this is only the second time I've ever done this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I am just trying to make as much content, expand what I do, because I love this stuff so much and I appreciate all the support that you guys show me. So I'm just trying to think of like new things to keep it fresh, not stall out with momentum, that kind of stuff. So yeah, any suggestions, ideas, please let me know in a comment below. And once again, I want to reiterate how much I appreciate the support. We recently just went over 400 subscribers, which is insane to me. Only 100 more and we have one of the 2 things to help me start the YouTube partnership process, which is just crazy to think about. So if you enjoy the content, if you like the videos, all that stuff, please continue to support me. I am posting a video every single day on this channel. It is a ton of work, but I love it so much. I also post 2 shorts, TikToks, and Reels every day, as well as the 4 to 6 streams on Twitch. So it's a lot, but like I said, I love this stuff so much, and your guys' support is what keeps me going, and I can't thank you enough for it. But that is it. Mass Effect 1 is in the books. I can't wait to see what happens, and I will do my best not to get anybody killed in this one. I promise. All right. God bless you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.